Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to a pre-recorded Kano Tryharding Modern. Couple of notes, just really quick. If you are interested in a monogreen Tron primer, I have one under construction in my Discord. And that's the only place that you can gain access to it. So if you want to have access to that, go ahead and there should be a link in the description for joining my Discord. And it should be pretty simple to find from there. In other news, I'm going to be trying to up the amount of videos that I'm uploading to YouTube. I do kind of want to focus on grinding to grow the channel a bit more, and so I'm going to be upping the number of videos. What it ends up being, I'm not entirely sure exactly what the upload schedule is going to look like yet, but for now, I'm just going to record a bunch of videos, and I'll put them all up on YouTube, and we'll see how I feel after that. Whether you get more, you get less, I'm just going to kind of work it out. So without any further ado, this is a recent 5.0 Tron list. A couple of notable inclusions. This one does not run Ugin 6. We're only running 2 Wurmcoil Engines, 2 Oblivion Stones. We've got 3 Warping Wails, a Walking Ballista, and 2 Relics of Progenitus in this list. And that's kind of the difference in the main deck. No Yavimaya in the land base here, but we do have a Boseiju who endures. I like seeing Yavimaya when we have Sundering Titan in the board, but this one's not playing in the main deck, so it's kind of more reasonable. We do have 2 forces, 1 Nature's Claim. I kind of think that Nature's Claim probably should be a Wilt, but we also have 2 Veil of Summer, so that should help us if we encounter mono black or control. And yeah, so that's the difference with this list. Let's go ahead and jump into a Modern League. Alrighty, we are on the play for round 1 with a turn 3 Tron setup, so we will be keeping this. We're against a Yorion deck, so it's probably the 5-color money pile. Hang on, I have to attend to a needy dachshund. Come here. She's elderly, so she has to be asked. She has to ask to be picked up, and there's not many good places to sit down in my house, so kind of defaults to my lap, doesn't it? Alright, so we're going to start Urza's Mine into Expedition Map. Pass the turn. On turn 3, we can go Wurmcoil Engine and Chromatic Star, unless we draw like a Karn, which would be ideal, I think, versus this deck. Opponent is leading on Mishra's Bauble. They're going to Bauble themselves. My apologies if my audio settings are a bit wrong. As you can tell, I have moved into my new house, and I'm not set up in my office yet. I don't have everything I need, and I'm kind of out of money for the month. I've spent all the money that I can spend, so I'm just kind of riding it out right now. We did draw a Karn, so play Power Plant, pass the turn, and we will almost certainly be playing Karn here. Okay, so opponent is representing counter magic. Let's go get a tower. We untap, we draw a Chromatic Star, play a tower, play a Karn. If Karn gets countered, we'll Chromatic Star and Ancient Stirrings and hopefully find something. Okay, opponent shocks a Breeding Pool and Counterspell. Okay, so Chromatic Star, filter for green. We draw Relic, Chromatic Star, filter for green, and Ancient Stirrings. And let's get a Karn Liberated. Rest of the bottom, any order. We could have just grabbed a land there, but and there's less. How do I say this? So by showing my opponent Karn Liberated off of Ancient Stirrings, they're almost certainly going to represent counter mana because like they're gonna have to counter Karn. Whereas if I had gotten a land, there's some potential that my opponent taps out for like a Teferi or something like that. But the opponent has another counterspell. It's interesting how 20 extra cards in the deck does not actually change your deck's consistency all that much. Okay, opponent baubles. Abundant growths. And dress downs. Okay. Well, this should let us resolve Karn. Okay, power plant's kind of nice. Play Karn. And let's wish with Karn. And I think right now I actually want Trinisphere. Because Trinisphere is guaranteed to take up the rest of their mana. And I can follow this up with a Liquimetal Coating or a Sundering Titan. And it basically means like they have to leave up mana or develop their develop their board state. They can't do one and the other. So like if my opponent has a prismatic ending or something to that effect for Trinisphere, I can just go get Sundering Titan so they can't force. Because Force of Negation only hits non-creature spells. And if they want to deal with Sundering Titan, they have to leave all of their mana open and use a counterspell or an Archmage's Charm. With my opponent missing land drops, it's going to be really powerful. Okay, they do have a prismatic ending, and they play a Flooded Strand. And they get a Steam Vents untapped and Unholy Heat Karn. Alright, well, that didn't turn out ideally. But let's see what we can find off of a couple of stars here. So we draw with Chromatic Star, we find another Urza's Mine. Play Chromatic Sphere. Cycle Chromatic Sphere, we get an Ugin. Now, Ugin is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and cast Ugin. They might have Force of Negation. They don't. So let's go ahead and shoot them. I can leave up Warping Wail, or I can crack Relic and get rid of their grave, which is kind of interesting, because they are playing Delirium cards. I think I'm going to leave up Warping Wail. I don't know what sorcery they would cast, though, other than like a Prismatic Ending or Traverse. Okay, Abundant Growth is not a threat. Okay, another Bauble. They bauble themselves. Okay. On their end step, let's go ahead and crack Relic. Okay, they're going to Unholy Heat Ugin. He's down to 3. I mean, that's fine. He doesn't need to alter anything. Like, we can just win with damage. Opponent draws a card. We draw another tower. Let's see. I don't know if there's a better... I guess we are going to map here. Hang on. Now, I could get Sanctum of Ugin, which, if I draw a 7-drop, then that'll pretty much close out the game. I could get a Blast Zone and just take out the Abundant Growths so they don't have perfect mana. I actually think I'm going to do that. It also stops them from, like, gaining value by flickering. Oh, I guess I can't activate Blast Zone and cast Wurmcoil Engine. I'm just going to play Blast Zone and then leave up Warping Wail, I think. Okay. So we pass the turn. Opponent flashes in Ice Fang Quaddle. I'm going to exile it. Opponent untaps and draws. There's some notion that maybe I should Blast Zone right away to maybe keep them off an Omnath, but they do have white, green, red, blue without the Abundant Growth, so there's no need to rush it. Especially because, like, they could have the cards to set up Delirium for an Unholy Heat kill on Ugin, which is why I didn't Blast Zone here. Okay, it's Teferi. If they downtick on an Abundant Growth, I will activate Blast Zone. Okay, they downtick with no targets because they want to guarantee a draw. The interesting thing about this ability is if they target something and the target is removed, they don't draw a card, but if they downtick with no target, they draw regardless. So something to be aware of when you're playing against Teferi Time Raveler with any deck, really. Do I want to tick Blast Zone up to 3? I don't think so. I think we keep it on 1. So let's untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Let's shoot Teferi. Play a tower, and play a Wurmcoil. Okay, put a cracks Wooded Foothills. Gets a Spara's Headquarters. And we pass. Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's any reason to activate Blast Zone. And opponent scoops. It's a win for us. I will be bringing in Veil of Summer, and I think Force of Vigor and Nature's Claim, because they do generally play some number of Spreading Seas, which I'm going to have to deal with. Not as big of a fan of Walking Ballista here. I think it's fine having the Wishboard. Wurmcoil's okay, but I'm going to drop a Wurmcoil. They don't have too many things worth countering with Warping Wail. Like, they might play Time Warp. We could counter Traverse the Ulvenwald or Prismatic Ending, but I'm not sure those matter so much. So I'm actually going to cut the Warping Wails, and I'm going to keep the Relic of Progenitus in, because they are playing Delirium cards. And I mean, like, if we can keep Unholy Heat as just being a shock, it's a lot worse than them playing Bolt in their deck, because Bolt will kill both Karns if we tick them down, whereas Unholy Heat won't, as long as we can keep them off Delirium. So that, and I mean Relic redraws, which is pretty good. This is a mulligan, definitely a mulligan here. I think this is also a mulligan. We will go down to 5. This is significantly worse. I'm actually going to go to 4. Okay, I can sort of make this work. We're going to put back Forest and Chromatic Sphere and Sanctum. 2 redraws and an Ancient Stirrings hopefully is going to be good enough. We are on the draw. Okay. On our upkeep, we draw Urza's Mine. That's pretty good. So we'll lead on Mine, play Sphere, pass the turn. Opponent fetches up a Raugrin Triome. If they have Prismatic Ending, there's a really strong chance they use it here because we mulliganed so low. Or they're just going to play Wrenn and 6. They play Wrenn and 6, and they pick up Misty Rainforest. We untap and draw Karn Great Creator. Let's cycle for green. We get a Redundant Mine. Ancient Stirrings. We get a Tower. So, technically with Ancient Stirrings, it would have been better to play Power Plant, cycle again with Chromatic Star, and then Ancient Stirrings. But my thought process here was, if I hit the other Tron land, as in the Tower, I could hide the fact that I was holding a Power Plant at all, and my opponent may not feel as pressured to do something this turn, because we mulligan so low, they're like, he's going to stumble, he's not going to have the turn 3 Tron, they're probably just going to play out a Teferi this turn. That's my thought process on this. Okay, opponent fetches up an island, picks up a Misty, and passes. We untap, we draw Chromatic Sphere, so play Power Plant, play Karn. This is almost certainly going to get countered. Okay, there's the counter spell. So cycle for green. We get an Expedition map. Play the map, and I'm going to go get a second tower here. And my logic is this, having a second tower protects us somewhat if my opponent has like a Cleansing Wildfire or a Spreading Seas. We're holding a mine, so if they Spreading Seas anything but the Power Plant, we're fine. If we're holding the second tower, it unlocks a potential Ulamog, which would be very, very strong off the top of our deck. Looks like our opponent's casting Expressive Iteration. Oh, this really is just a pile of like the best 80 cards in Modern, isn't it? Okay, opponent exiles a Flooded Strand and then plays it. Picks up a land, then has to discard a land. We untap, we draw another Expedition map. So, play Chromatic Sphere. Cycle for green. Another Expedition map. Alright, play the map. activate map. Let's get a Blast Zone, because I'm going to need to stop this Renin 6 from ulting. Play Blast Zone. Charge it up to 2, which will also take out a Ice Fang if they've got it, and I'm going to play a map just to use up my last remaining mana. So opponent knows we're holding a second tower. They do not know about the Urza's Mine. Opponent fetches with Flooded Strand, gets a Hollowed Fountain, then untaps. They play an Omnath. We do really, really badly need a Haymaker off the top if we're not just dead. If they can, like, fetch, cast Bring to Light, and then go get Time Warp, we're probably just done, because they can up to 7, then ult, then just start recasting Time Warp infinitely, as long as they have lands in hand. Well, they can't Bring to Light X5, so it's not what I just said. They Boseiju Urza's Mine, we go get a Forest. Then they pick up the Boseiju. They Boseiju the Power Plant. Okay. So we're going to go get Power Plant off of map. Untap. We draw Karn. Play Power Plant. Go ahead and kill Renin 6. Pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have another Boseiju or another Renin 6, but it's still possible. Okay, they play a land, they get a bunch of life, they fetch, they shock, they get a bunch of mana. So this could just be Yorion, or it could be a setup for a good Yorion like Flicker. They cycle Spar as headquarters, they play Ice Fang. They attack us for 4, we take 4. Oh, they have another Boseiju. Okay. So we are a long way off Tron. Draw another Karn. Play Karn. Wish. Guess I'm gonna get Sundering Titan. That's the highest potential upside play if we happen to just, like, Hail Mary top deck a Power Plant. It is very good that we have 3 basic forests in this deck. A lot of other Tron lists only play 2. Okay, they play a land, they get a bunch of life, they fetch, they gain a bunch of mana. It's unlikely we're going to resolve this Sundering Titan because they have a ton of extra mana for, like, counter spells and stuff. Opponent's casting Traverse. See what they tutor up. They do have Delirium, so they can get any creature or land cards. They could just go get another Boseiju, and they would actually sinkhole us with it because we only have the 3 forests. Although I don't know if they play 2 or 3 or 4 Boseiju. Well, they play at least 3. Okay, that sucks. And then they're going to play Yorion and flicker their board. And draw more cards. Okay. We untap. We draw a Veil of Summer, which is not very helpful right now, or probably won't be anyway. Play Karn. Wish with Karn. I guess we're going to need Ensnaring Bridge to try and drag this game out. I don't think it's going to work because of the amount of removal and possible counterspells they can have for an Ensnaring Bridge, but we still have to try. Okay, opponent plays a Mishra's Bauble. They can't activate the ability for it, though. Not until they kill Karn, which they are doing, then hitting us for 4. Okay. They bauble our top deck. They play Wooded Foothills, gain a bunch of life. They crack Wooded Foothills, gain a bunch of mana. They traverse. They get Emrakul, the Promised End. And we're going to go ahead and call it there. Okay. I don't think we make any adjustments. I think we just run it back. I don't believe our opponent saw Veil of Summer either, so it's possible we get him with that. We do have the advantage of being on the play in round 3 and hopefully not mulliganing so low. I am surprised that we basically were able to assemble Tron twice during that game. We got very lucky with the top decks there, but kind of makes sense as to why we lost, mulliganing to 4. Generally, Tron can mulligan pretty safely down to 5, but anything past that, and it's hazardous. I'm going to mulligan this. This is a better 6 than our opening 7, but I think we can do better at the 5 mark. Yeah, this is better. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to put back an Ugin and an Ugin. So there is the hazard of our opponent having a prismatic ending here. That would suck. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath. Gets a Hollow Fountain untapped. Well, they've always got it, don't they? Alright. So they prismatic ending, and then they bobble us. So they get to see what we're top decking. We untap, they draw a card, and we draw Veil of Summer. Play Tower, pass the turn. I mean, if we could just top deck Mine Tower in that order, it'd be pretty good. Okay. Opponent plays a Stomping Ground, untapped. And Boseiju. So we get a Forest. Okay. We untap, we draw a Force. Sylvan Scrying. Let's go get an Urza's Mine. Play the Mine. I don't like tutoring up the same lands over and over, simply because there's a better chance that my opponent will... there's a chance that my opponent will just like focus down that land if they're able. Okay, opponent traverses. They can't grab any land, they don't have Delirium, but they can get a basic to make a land drop here. So they do get a Snow-Covered Forest. Okay. They probably have an Ice Fang. We untap and draw Sylvan Scrying. So let's Sylvan Scrying and get our Power Plant. Play the Power Plant. Pass the turn. If we could top deck a Karn and play it with Veil of Summer backup, that'd be amazing. Okay, opponent plays an Otawara. They play a Renin 6. They pick up Boseiju, but they can't use Boseiju this turn. We need to top deck a Tron threat now. That's Tron threat. So play out Karn. Okay, Karn resolves. We wish. If I Pithing Needle Boseiju, I think I can Pithing Needle Boseiju. Who endures? Okay, that way they can't just like channel Boseiju lock us, because channel is an activated ability. Now, if they have a prismatic ending into a Boseiju, that would be a problem, but if it was like Teferi Bounce, we could deal with that, because we have Veil of Summer. Okay, Omnath. Alright, opponent has an Omnath. They play a Windswept Heath. They gain a bunch of life. They crack Windswept Heath. They get a Temple Garden untapped and a bunch of mana. Okay, they're going to play Teferi, so we're going to Veil in response. So yeah, their plan was to Teferi, bounce Pithing Needle, then Boseiju, deal with a land. And they top it off with an Unholy Heat. Okay, that's pretty bad, but we have 2 draws to hit a Tron land for casting Ulamog. And that would be ideal. Okay, they uptick Teferi. Alright, we really need to top deck a Tron land. Does that work? I can use 2 to make 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, No, I can only go up to 9 mana. It's not quite good enough. I'm still gonna do it, but... we uptick Karn, doesn't really do anything though. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Had we top-decked a Sphere or a Star and drew a Tron land, we would have had an Ulamog this turn. If it had been Tower, we'd have had to have drawn Tower. So opponent bounces Pithing Needle. So they are going to Boseiju, Wrenn and 6, Boseiju, taking out Power Plant and Mine. We get a little bit of mana from the forests, but we're not going to have enough to cast anything, and we are losing Karn this turn. So we had one draw, and we didn't quite make it. Our option, or our wins were drawing Tower, drawing Sphere or Star into Tower, or we don't have a main deck Sundering Titan. If we had drawn a Karn, might have been enough. But we're just going to get locked out of the game here. Okay, they Boseiju Mine, get a forest. They pick up Boseiju. They Boseiju Power Plant. We get a forest. They put Yorion into their hand and play a Steam Vents, gaining a bunch of life. And they pass. We untap, they draw, we draw. Another force. Alright. Well, Pithing Needle on Boseiju, who endures. Pass the turn. Yeah, I just don't see a way out of this, though. Unless my opponent gets hit by a meteorite and times out, I don't see there's really a way for us to win. So they pick up a land, they generate a ton of mana, they can flicker their whole board. Okay, we untap, they're taking our turn. So they're just gonna Force of Vigor our own Pithing Needle, and then we get a turn, I guess. We draw Boseiju. Play Chromatic Star. Filter for green, we'll draw a card. We do draw an Urza's Mine, not that it matters. We can play an Urza's Mine. There's nothing I can Boseiju to stay alive, and I can't cast Ulamog, so we lose. Sad times. But we fought it out to the bitter end, and there was the chance that we could win that. I will see you guys in round 2. Alrighty, welcome back to round 2. I think we will be keeping, we got 2/3 of Tron. We have technically a turn 3 Karn Great Creator off of Warping Wail. We can leave up Warping Wail on turn 2, and if we top deck a tower, it's just natural Tron. So, opponent cracks Bloodstain Mire, gets a mountain, and plays a Swift Spear. So this looks to be mono red. Hopefully we can use this Warping Wail as removal. It's going to be a little bit tricky because we're going to have to find a way... Oh! I mean, we have Chromatic Sphere. Okay, so we can get turn 3 Tron into Karn Great Creator now, because we have Sylvan Scrying. Fantastic. Were you worried? I wasn't worried. Okay, opponent. Shock Sacred Foundry. Lava Spikes us. Ouch. And lights up the stage, revealing Sacred Foundry and another Lava Spike. So we take 3 and go to 13. I could Warping Wail this turn and exile Swift Spear. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack Chromatic Star for green. If I draw Tower, I'm going to Warping Wail. I'm not going to Sylvan Scrying. So let's play Power Plant and Warping Wail. So that worked out exactly as intended. We did have the Sylvan Scrying there. Of course, we didn't draw the Tower, but it was good to check prior to just immediately casting Sylvan Scrying. So Sometimes you gotta make your own luck by taking lines that otherwise may not be obvious. So opponent does Lava Spike us out of the Exile Zone. They're going to shock another Sacred Foundry, it looks like. And pass. We untap. We draw Forest, so play a Tower. Play Karn. And I'm gonna go get Trinisphere. I basically want to lock them down to casting one spell a turn. If they don't bolt Karn, we can play Sanctum of Ugin and then play Sundering Titan and keep them out of the game, basically, because they won't be able to cast spells. They Boros Charm us down to 6. Okay, we have to dodge 6 damage. Which we will, because they can only cast one spell. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to... Okay, we draw an Urza's Mine, so Wish with Karn. Let's get a Sundering Titan. Play Sanctum. Sundering Titan. So opponent can cast one spell. If they have 3 damage, a land, and then another 3 damage spell, we lose. As long as we can dodge that exact line, we should be fine. So here, we're going to sack Sanctum, and we're going to get a Wurmcoil Engine. Okay, Sundering Titan. They need to respond here if they're going to win. Okay, they bolt our face. We take out both Sacred Foundries. And as long as they don't have land and bolt, we should be able to make a recovery. Land and 3 damage spell is how we lose. There's a land. And they had it. That's unfortunate. That was really close. I don't really think we played that incorrectly. Like, technically we could have gotten a Chalice, but I don't think that that's what we should have done. We're going to bring in Thragtusk, Nature's Claim, Chalice of the Void, and we are going to drop Ulamog and both relics, I think. We'll try like this. Man, my beard is getting long. And right now it's kind of tangly, scraggly. I've been straightening it most days and putting a little bit of beard oil in. And like when I straightened it, it's like down to here. No joke. Because it's all curly kind of right now, so I really want to get it to wizard level. I've never had it this long. I think this is the longest my beard's ever been. So, alright. I do want to play first. This is not a capable hand. We will mulligan that. We will mulligan this as well. Okay, 2/3 of Tron and a map. We're going to put back Oblivion Stone and Walking Ballista. And we're going to lead on mine into Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent starts with Inspiring Vantage and Swift Spear. They hit us for 1. We go to 19. We untap. We draw a Chromatic Sphere, play Tower, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Sunbaked Canyon and a Goblin Guide. And suspends a Rift Bolt. Okay. They attack us for 3. They reveal Boseiju. Okay. So we take 3 and crack map. Let's go get Power Plant. Untap. We draw Oblivion Stone, play Power Plant. And I think I'm going to go for the Trinisphere play again because it actually stops them from casting Rift Bolt. And I mean, we can follow this up with Karn Liberated, which will be pretty nice. If they don't have a 3rd land, it's also extremely brutal. Okay, get a Trinisphere. Play it. It might mean they have to attack Karn this turn to kill him. So opponent cannot cast Rift Bolt because it costs 3 mana. Okay. Good old 3-ball. Opponent has not played a land yet. They are attacking Karn. They're revealing Karn Liberated for us. We untap. And now because we have 2 Karns, and our opponent missed a land drop, we will be Karning away their lands to keep them locked under 3-ball. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent is forced into attacking Karn Liberated. Okay. Opponent reveals Warping Wail. We untap. Draw Warping Wail. Play Karn Liberated. And now we can take out Goblin Guide. Pass the turn. And the game is over. Trinisphere is a really powerful effect. And it's one reason why, like, what you just saw is why I never cut Trinisphere from my Tron wishboard, ever. I think the effect is so strong. Like, it goes along with, like, the Liquimetal Coating game plan. I don't know if you've noticed, but across the last, like, I don't know, 10 leagues of Tron that I've played on this channel, I think I've only wished for Liquimetal Coating like 3 or 4 times out of all of those games, and it's the combo that, like, everyone is afraid of. And I think that it represents a threat, but the majority of the time I grab something else. And I think I've grabbed Trinisphere more than I've grabbed Coating. But having those two ability in combination to, like, work together is insanely good. So we have 2/3 of Tron, we have no redraws, but we do have a Warping Wail, so, like, maybe we can use that to protect ourselves. We do also have a Blast Zone if my opponent just plays a bunch of 1-drops. So I think I am going to keep this. This is a pretty big risk, but we are on the draw. If our opponent starts Goblin Guide, we can, I don't know, maybe have an additional chance of drawing the lands we need, which is Tower. We'll see. I think you could mulligan this hand to 6 pretty easily. Okay, opponent starts Swift Spear. Opponent mulligan to 5, which is really good for us. When Burn has to mulligan, they lose a ton of power, because they just don't have the... how do I say this? Like, they don't have the sustainability of other decks. When you're playing Burn, you basically need every single card to make it all the way to counting to 20 or 21. Opponent attacks with Goblin Guide, revealing Chromatic Star. We take 3. And opponent suspends Rift Bolt. Okay. So we draw a Chromatic Star, we're going to play Power Plant, and we're going to exile this Monastery Swiftspear now before it does any more damage. Opponent's going to untap, Rift Bolt coming off suspend is going to take us down to 13, and Goblin Guide is going to take us down to 11. Hopefully we draw a Tower. Opponent plays a Sunbaked Canyon. They may just cash that in immediately. They do. Okay, Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger on top is not Urza's Tower, but you can't always have it. Play Chromatic Star. Let's go ahead and cycle for green. Now we draw another Urza's Mine, which I'm going to go ahead and play. I don't want to show them Blast Zone. I don't know how much a burn player on 2 cards can afford to not play out 1-drop creatures, but if I don't show them Blast Zone, like, they may just play out whatever 1-drops they have, and then we can Blast Zone to take care of them all. Opponent attacks us with Goblin Guide, reveals Ancient Stirrings. Now I feel a bit silly for having cracked that star. I still think it was correct to do so. So we can prevent a couple points of damage here by cracking Blast Zone on 1, and I think we will. Opponent plays an Arid Mesa. Okay, they attack for 4. Goblin Guide trigger finds us a Karn Liberated. Alright, gonna sack that Blast Zone. This might be the tragedy of Tron here. Like I said, it was risky, but we got a lot of draw steps. We go down to 7. Opponent has 1 card in hand. We top deck Karn Liberated number 3. Which is not really what you want to see in this position. But if we can draw a tower and play a Wurmcoil Engine, and our opponent not have a Smash to Smithereens, or a Deflecting Palm, or a Path to Exile, then we should be fine. Boros Charm takes us to 3. This Eidolon attack is going to take us to 1. If they drew a burn spell, we're dead. Hit us for 2. We go to 1. We untap. We draw Chromatic Star. Play Chromatic Star. Oh, we can't cast anything. Oh, we just died. We had to have Tower, and we had to cast a Wurmcoil there in order to win. It just wasn't gonna happen, unfortunately. And Moto's not gonna show me what my next card was. So unfortunately, we are 1-2 yet again. We could have won either of those matches with just a slightly different set of circumstances. So I will see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3. And we will be mulliganing. We cannot keep a 0-lander in Tron. I mean, technically on the draw, I guess you could top deck all 3 Tron pieces. I'm just not that lucky. This is also mulligan. We will be going down to 5. And we got it, so we're going to keep. And I'm going to put back Warping Wail and an Expedition Map. Burn again. Alright, hopefully this is this the same guy? It is not, okay. I mean, hopefully the Tron God smileth upon us. We lead on Expedition Map, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills and a Monastery Swiftspear. Cracks Wooded Foothills for a mountain. Attacks us for 3. Make that 7. So we go down to 11. Untap. We draw an Ancient Stirrings. Play a Power Plant. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays an Arid Mesa. They go to combat. Attack us for 3. We reveal another Ancient Stirrings. So let's go ahead and get a tower. We take 3 and go to 8. Opponent passes. We untap. We draw Blast Zone, which is possibly one of our best top decks. Play Tower. Play Karn. There's a really good chance we are still dead. I am going to go for Chalice of the Void here. Because I think even with Trinisphere, I could still just... Yeah, Trinisphere doesn't help. Not that much, anyway. So play Relic. Then play Chalice on 1. And hope that's enough. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent untaps. They play a Sunbaked Canyon. Attack us for 3. Revealing Expedition Map. Unfortunately, Expedition Map not going to do anything because I put Chalice on 1. We untap and draw map. I mean, I could go for Sundering Titan here. That would give me a blocker and take out a land. I could just go get, like, Coating or Trinisphere now. I'm pretty sure I can play Blast Zone and play Trinisphere, so let's do that. Okay, get Trinisphere. Play Blast Zone. Play Trinisphere. Okay, opponent cracks Sunbaked Canyon to draw a card. Opponent cracks Arid Mesa. Aura mounted. Okay, Trinisphere resolves. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Wooded Foothills. Go to combat. They attack us. We reveal an Ancient Stirrings. And they Skull Crack. So we gotta take the damage from the Skull Crack. Let's go ahead and exile the Graves. Draw that Ancient Stirrings, and then sack Blast Zone. Kill the 1-drops. We untap, draw Karn, but I don't think that's going to be enough. We can play Karn Liberated. We can take out their Inspiring Vantage, and we can animate Trinisphere as a blocker, just, I guess, as a hedge against Hellspark Elemental. Like, I don't know what 2-mana haste creature they would have, but... We're probably... Actually, I probably just killed myself to Searing Blaze, because they can't play any of their 1-drop haste creatures. Yeah, if I die to Searing Blaze, that's a massive punt. Come on, you don't have it. They have it. Okay, I threw the game. I didn't mean to, I swear. Okay, Thragtusk, Nature's Claim, Chalice into the main deck, and we're gonna drop Ulamog, Relic, and run it back. Yep, remember, learn from Kano. Do the smart things that Kano does and learn from his mistakes. That's how you get better at the game. That's how you get better at Tron. Alright. We'll play first. Natural Tron, you betcha. Okay, start on Power Plant, play map, pass the turn. I will be mapping for Tower again, most likely, because I want to have access to 10 mana in case I do draw my other Ulamog, the one that I still have in the deck. Opponent plays a Rift Bolt. We drew the second tower, so I'm going to leave up Warping Wail and just counter this Rift Bolt. There's some chance that they're trying to Rift Bolt us to turn on a Light Up the Stage on like a 1-land hand, in which case like this would have worked out pretty good. They do have the second land though. They got a Swift Spear and a Bolt. So we're taking 5 damage here and going 15. Okay, we untap. We draw Karn Great Creator. So let's play Tower, play Karn, Wish with Karn. And let's get a Trinisphere and play it while they're tapped out. If they don't have a third land, they can't play any other spells. And if they don't have a third land, we're going to get Sundering Titan and Armageddon them. If they do have a third land, they can kill Karn, which would be unfortunate, but this is still like the way we have to win right now. Okay, opponent does have the third land. They fetch with Arid Mesa to get a second mounted. They Lightning Helix Karn Great Creator, so Karn down. They hit us for 2, we go to 13. We untap, we draw Urza's Mine. So, Karak Expedition Map. And let's go get, I think, Sanctum of Ugin here is the direction we want to be going anyway. I could get Blast Zone to deal with the Swift Spear, but we're going to play a Tower and an Oblivion Stone this turn. Well, that way I can Fate counter Trinisphere and then blow up anything that they play and not have to worry about like if they played an Eidolon next turn or something to that effect. Okay. I mean, it's of course worse against something like Smash to Smithereens, but... Boros Charm. Alright, so we're going to take 6 damage here and go to 7. Okay, let's put a Fate counter on Trinisphere. We untap, we draw Karn, Great Creator, and that should probably be the game. So we play an Urza's Mine, we play Karn, and we go and get Sundering Titan. And now they just can't cast spells anymore. And yes, it is imperative to do this turn instead of playing Sanctum. Had we not played out the big mana lands, we would not be able to do this. If I'd played Sanctum immediately after I tutored for it, then we would not have been able to Karn for Sundering Titan this turn. Okay, opponent passes. We untap, we draw Wurmcoil Engine. I don't have Walking Ballista in the side. So... let's go ahead and wish. We will get Liquimetal Coating. Play Coating. Okay. Alright. Opponent is just not going to cast any more spells that game. And we'll run it back. Hi, Porter. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Did you come over here to get some pets? He's a good dog. So we'll be going into round 3 against Burn, or game 3 against Burn. It's going to be tough with us being on the draw. Okay. Unfortunately, if we had 2 different Tron lands and an Expedition map, that would be a great hand. But unfortunately, we don't, so I'm going to mulligan. This is way better. I will be keeping. And I think I'm putting back Nature's Claim here. It's unlikely that I'm going to have a setup where I'm going to be able to Nature's Claim my own artifact to gain life or anything like that. Opponent leads on Wooded Foothills. They did mulligan to 6. They play Sacred Foundry into Swiftspear. We get hit for 1. You can draw Karn, Great Creator. Play Expedition Map, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Sunbaked Canyon into a second Swiftspear. Into a Lava Spike, so we're taking 7 damage here. Going to 12. And I think we gotta go for Tron. Oh, hi, sweetie. What's the matter? Gonna get Urza's Mine. Pass the turn. Unfortunately, Blast Zone would be too slow because it involves 2 land drops. I would have liked to Warping Wail this turn, but... ooh, we might be dead. We take a Bolt, go to 9. We take a Skewer, go to 6, and then take 6 from the Dorks. Yep, should have Warping Wailed, I guess. Oh man, we could have won any of those matches. We were 1-2 for 3. That is not a pun. I will see you guys in round 4. Alrighty, welcome back to round 4. This is definitely a mulligan. We are on the draw. 2/3 of Tron, triple Sylvan Scrying. You know what? I am going to keep this. I'm going to put back a Sylvan Scrying. We have a 8 out of 54 chance of drawing a Chromatic. We have a 12 out of 54 chance of drawing like an Expedition map plus a Chromatic. So it's a pretty decent chance we draw a card we can use here. Opponent leads on Ragavan, which is not what you want to see. Porter is throwing his bone around for some reason. Okay. Opponent passes, we untap and draw a Ancient Stirrings. Players is mine, pass the turn. Unfortunately, we did not draw any of the cards we needed. Although now if we draw a Chromatic on our second draw step, we can Chromatic into Ancient Stirrings at the very least. It looks like our opponent may have kept a one-lander as they are going to combat without playing a land, which generally, like, they would play a second land pre-combat to have access to, like, a counterspell in case I had a Dismember. Okay, they hit us for 2. They get a treasure, they exile Chromatic. Where were you on turn 1, Chromatic? And don't say under Ancient Stirrings, because you were. Okay, opponent plays Otawara, so they did not miss a land drop. And they play a Ledger Shredder and a Dragon's Rage Channeler. So they get to loot, or connive as it's called. They discard a redundant Ragavan. We untap, we draw a Karn Great Creator, play Tower, and pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They consider, and they get to Surveil. They throw away a Lightning Bolt. That's interesting. And they throw away an Expressive Iteration, so that grows the Dragon's Rage Channeler. They play a land. They're going to attack us for 6. Okay. Or 7, excuse me, I can't math. Opponent exiles a Relic of Progenitus. We untap. We draw a Warping Wail. Go ahead and just exile Ragavan now. The logic here being, if they have to use a spell in a 3-card hand, they may not have 2 spells to grow Ledger Shredder next turn. Not that that really matters. It's also unlikely they have another Ragavan because they discarded one, so I'm not worried about doing this at sorcery speed as opposed to trying to exile Ragavan on their turn after they've had another draw step to find a Flusterstorm or a Spell Pierce or, you know, insert counterspell name here. Man, what is that, like? 7 of the last 8 Tron matches I've played have been 1-2s. That's nuts. Because they've all been pretty close. We just haven't gotten lucky to, you know, close out enough games. Okay, opponent considers dumping Spirebluff Canal. They consider again, getting to Surveil, and then Connive, and then actually consider. It's a lot of triggers. Okay, so they will be attacking this turn for 6, at least. Okay. They attack us for 6, we're going to 5. We untap, draw Chromatic Sphere, so we play it. It doesn't really matter. I'd have to draw... I don't have anything I can actually draw here. Okay, I'm just going to scoop. So that's unfortunate. I did keep kind of a sketchy hand, but I don't know if it was that sketchy. We're going to bring in Force of Vigors, Veil of Summer, Thragtusk, and Nature's Claim. I'm actually going to cut the Warping Wails. I think the fact that this can't hit a Magus of the Moon, which they potentially are playing, it is an answer for Ragavan, but Ragavan ultimately doesn't really matter that much because they can't really take anything from us and play it that matters with Ragavan. I'm going to actually put a Wurmcoil Engine in the Wishboard, and I'm going to drop 1 Karn, and I'm going to actually put Walking Ballista in the Wishboard. Alright, I would like to play first. This is a mulligan. This is better. I mean, we have Ancient Stirrings into, like, map, potentially. I think I will keep this, and I'm going to put back Oblivion Stone. It's a pretty risky hand, but we do get, like, 7 looks at hitting a second land, and and setting up for a turn 4 Karn Liberated. Okay, opponent untaps. They play a Misty. And they're passing. We untap, we draw Karn. So filter for green, Ancient Stirrings. Oh no. Don't Flusterstorm me, bro. Just cast Consider, or bolt my face. Okay, this does resolve, thankfully. We get a forest, so we do get the second land, which is good. Play the forest, play the map. Okay, they do have a Spell Pierce. They really, really should have hit that Ancient Stirrings if they had a Spell Pierce. I definitely would have cast a Spell Pierce under those circumstances. Hi, Nini. What's up, little dachshund? She's looking right at me. You can probably see her in the bottom of the camera there, but... opponent attacks us with Ragavan. Gets treasure, exiles a Karn. They pick up Ragavan, we untap. We draw Veil of Summer. So Sylvan Scrying. Let's get a power plant. Play a power plant. Pass the turn. Now we can just top deck that mine. We are in business. Opponent casts Consider. Putting Expressive Iteration into the grave. They replay Ragavan with what looks like Counterspell backup. That's the only reason they wouldn't have dashed him. We drew Urza's Mine right on cue. Play Karn Liberated. Okay, Karn resolves. It's down tick to take out Steam Vents. They probably have an Unholy Heat or a Bolt. Okay, they didn't use it. Okay, opponent goes to combat. They attack us. They're not bothering with Karn. We take 2, they get a treasure. They exile Relic. They cast Expressive Iteration, sure. They exile Mishra's Bauble. They play Mishra's Bauble. They bauble us. They play a Steam Vents untapped. And they bolt Karn. Okay. We untap. They draw a card. We draw a Sanctum of Ugin. So play Sanctum. And I think I'm just going to cast Wurmcoil Engine. Well, they don't have a counterspell. Wurmcoil Engine is something that's very difficult for them to deal with. They can Unholy Heat it, but this is something they really would prefer to use a counterspell on, because that would stop all of its value. And this way I can save Veil of Summer to protect Karn Great Creator, plus possibly a threat off of Karn Great Creator. If we get another tower, we can actually cast Sundering Titan. This opponent fetches up an island and casts Jace. Okay, if they down-tick Jace, we Veil. So we'll get to keep our Wurmcoil then. Okay, we rip an Ancient Stirrings off the top. Okay, we untap. We We draw an Urza's Mine. Okay, play Urza's Mine, go to combat, attack Jace. They should block here. Okay, we gain life, play Karn. Ancient Stirrings. Let's get another Karn. Rest of the bottom. And I'm going to wish for Walking Ballista. I did miscount on the Sundering Titan front. I only had 7 mana instead of 8 left over. But I still get to kill Jace this way. And I still have a Wurmcoil Engine and a Walking Ballista with 1 counter on it, so. Okay, opponent scoops. And run it back. No adjustments. This is a mulligan. Oh my goodness. Just awful, awful Tron hands today. This is also a mulligan. This is also a mulligan. Good old Multifor Natural Tron Karn. Alright, put back Chromatic Sphere, Ulamog, and Nature's Claim. Hey, look at that! We kept the panorama. It's just one significant art piece. Okay, opponent leads on Spirebluff Canal. Plays Ragavan. We untap, we draw Forest. Players is mine, pass the turn. I mean, if you're going to keep a 4, this is one of the better 4s to have kept. The question is, does our opponent have a counterspell? Or will they be able to play a turn 2 Blood Moon? Either of those things would really ruin our day. Opponent attacks with Ragavan. If my opponent kept a 1-lander, that's really frustrating. I am so sick of Ragavan enabling 1-land hands and opponents being greedy enough to keep them and be rewarded for them. It's just ridiculous. Okay, they did not keep a 1-lander at least. Okay, they play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. We draw a Relic, so play a Power Plant, play a Relic, pass the turn. We can at least hopefully keep their graveyard empty. Okay, opponent goes to combat. They attack us for 3. They exile a Chromatic Star. They cast Expressive Iteration, getting to Surveil. They put a Consider into the grave, make them exile it. Okay, Expressive Iteration, gonna resolve. They exile a Scalding Tarn. They play Scalding Tarn. And they are passing. I'm gonna crack Relic here. Okay, we draw an Ancient Stirrings. Untap, we draw another Tron land. Play Tower. Play Big Karn. Opponent's got something for it. Okay, counterspell. Unfortunate, but not unforeseen. Next turn, we're going to try an Ancient Stirrings into a different threat. Opponent has another Expressive Iteration. To play an island out of the exile zone. And they are going to hit us for 5, make a treasure, and they exile Karn Liberated off the top. Well, that would have been a nice top deck. At least they can't play it. We untap. We draw another tower. Play Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Oof. Expedition map. Rest of the bottom. Play map. Activate it. Let's go get Blast Zone, because our opponent's threats are all 1-drops. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting tired. I've been messed up on my caffeine intake. I've been consuming a lot more than I should. I need to drop my dose of caffeine back down. Opponent considers. And digging for more action. dumped a Ledger Shredder. Oof. Opponent untaps. Hello. Hello, Stinky Breath. Getting right up in my face, licking my face. Are you sure you need to be climbing all the way up here? Oh, you need to be held. I see. Alright, well, let's finish out this game. Maybe we can go take a nap. Unless we win, then I have to play another game. Okay. Opponent attacks us for 5. Go to 5. They exile a Nature's Claim while I receive a bath. You know, I really don't need a bath. Opponent plays a Blood Moon, and that's probably gonna close it out here. We could top deck a Thragtusk, which would keep us in the game at least another turn, but they did just exile my Nature's Claim, and we don't draw anything. So that's the game, and I believe that is the league. We cannot win anything by playing the 5th match, and I'm very tired, so I don't think it's going to be worth my time. Also, that is 8 of the last 9 Tron matches. We've gone 1 and 2. We could win literally any of those with just slightly different circumstances. We could have literally 5-0'd twice in a row with slightly different circumstances. It's just, that's not how it worked out. So for those of you who can't see, this is Minnie Mouse. She's a very elderly Dachshund Yorkie mix. You may have heard her on previous videos, but she's staying with me for a little bit while my parents are unable to take care of her. So, yes, hi. I don't need kisses. Your breath stinks, but I appreciate it. Anyway, so thank you all so much for tuning in. You're all wonderful human beings. Reminder, there's a Tron primer in my Discord, so if you want to see it, join my Discord. Links in the description below. You can follow me on Twitch. I'm looking to up the amount of streams I do in a week, so hopefully we will be streaming on Wednesday, which will have been yesterday, I think, when this video comes out. But if not, I will be streaming on Sunday nonetheless. So you can see me do that over on Twitch. Link, same username over there as you find me on here. Yeah, sorry, I'm holding a dog and it's very distracting. I can't do my normal outro. So anyway, you're all wonderful human beings. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!